Welcome back. Uh, y- Last video segment we kind of stopped as a kind of more or less like a cliffhanger. Did not finish the the to change the layout of the web page. Uh, com did not complete the layout change because if you remember, what we did was what we want to achieve is the header, right, and the side panel, and then the footer on the bottom, and then the main content. And when click on these links, the page shows up here, right? So that's what we wanted to achieve. And I didn't get complete that because the video gets real long. So I'm breaking this into the two parts. This is video segment 11. So we're gonna finish up this. So last time we stopped is we managed to put the all the course catalogs on the left, right? But when we click, nothing happens, right? So the idea is when you click this, the page of this particular catalog or Cisco, right? And the Python, you see this? It's the page, the catalog of, would be for that particular, you know, catalog. The page will be showing here, and which it's not there. So that's what we need to do. Uh, this piece was done by introduce a Django template, a custom Django template. The reason for that is this is being repeated throughout all the pages because this is going to stay on the left. That's why we decide to use a Django custom template page to render this portion of it. Okay, so what we need to do is actually when click, get this side to show up. Now why is it not showing up? So last time when I did this, I did on the at the base HTML, I put the this piece, right? This is where I put in the side block. Remember the side block to the left? And I put this custom template tag called get category list, right? Which is defined in my Rango template tags, which this is the function, okay? It pulls out it gets all the categories from the database and listed on the left, right? So anyway, so this is what this piece achieves. Now, to kind of just show, so what's on the right, the body block, I just put in welcome to Tango with Django. That's what it's showing here, okay? Now, when you click on this, right? When you click on each of the categories, this page is supposed to show. Catalog.html template is supposed to show. Now, notice here, right? This is what the content is supposed to show. Now, why is it not happening? Well, it's actually a very simple explanation. Look at here. The block I am trying to insert in this content to is called content. Guess what? In the base, there is no content. We had this before, but we decided to change the layout to have a left panel and the middle part and the body here. So we changed the tag, the block. There is no content anymore. What we call on this part of it is actually we're calling a body block. So what we need to do is really to use body block to tell the Django rendering engine says, hey, when you see the body block, insert this piece of code, line 4 all the way to 21, okay? So when you look at the base, it will insert in here, right? And this will be overwritten, wiped out, will replace with this, okay? So we just did it, and let's see if it works, okay? So we do a reload. Right now it works. See? Right? Okay. So this all works. Now let's look at if we did this piece, but if you notice in the other pages, like add a category, I'm still reference to the content, right? So I need to replace that with a body block because when I click this, I wanted to the form shows up in here. You know what I mean? So and I just replace the body block. And by the same token, I want to do this on the add course. Okay. Okay. So when I click on this, it will show up here too. Okay. So let's see if it works. Okay. So if I do add a category, it shows up on this side, right? So if I click on the category, I want to add a course to the category. Look at this, the form shows up. Okay, so they all looks good now. The layout we have achieved where we set out to do, which is split into the entire page into a side panel with the main uh, body of the content on the right side, and then this is the header, and this is the footer. Okay, so the baseline layout has achieved. Now, just a couple of housekeeping work. Look at this, back to the home page. We don't need it anymore because we have it here, right? So let's remove that so that we can further reduce to make the much even further in terms, simpler, and basically leverage what the base HTML has provided for us. So let's get rid of this. Okay, so this is all good. Now if I reload it, click this, add a new course, right? And Python, so we'll look at this, right? It's all good. Okay, so this all looks good. Now we want to do one. We up to this point, everything we do is leverage the Bootstrap. What Bootstrap give us in terms the these here. Let me show you these. These presentation star sheet classes, which makes the whole thing much more prettier, right? And the columns, the width of it, and the nav bar at the top, and the footer on the bottom, these, right? So these are the star sheet. So the next exercise what we're going to do is actually to leverage what Bootstrap gave us. Remember I said the relationship between the Bootstrap framework versus the jQuery framework is Bootstrap more or less give you the styling aspect of it, the look and feel, the font size, colors, and so on and so forth. JavaScript, which is jQuery framework, gives you more power in terms tie the visual to the data you are presenting. Okay, again, what I'm saying is the commonality, the major effect, main effect. I mean, there are things Stashi do, also JavaScript you can do as well, and vice versa. Okay, but the key is Bootstrap is more of the presentation side of it. JavaScript more is tie the presentation to the data on the client side. Okay, so as you can recall, I mean, I'm putting the JavaScript at the end of the document, right? So let's do some leverage some of the work JavaScript work in this. So if you look at this, right, on this form, this is the add course form. There are a couple of things we can do to improve this. Okay, before we actually do the JavaScript, let's look at this. See this? These are the help text, right? And it's all on this side. It kind of taking up too much space, So a lot of modern website, this actually shows up inside the box as a non-editable hint. So how do we do that? Well, this is really a HTML tag. It's called placeholder. We just need to define that. Now, in Django, if you look at this, each field is being rendered as a paragraph. So that's why it's from top to the bottom, one paragraph at a time of each field. So there's no way for me to tap into this. The way you do this is, so in other words, if you want to insert your attribute, HTML attribute, you actually doing this from the form.py. Okay, so this is what you do in the form.py. Look at this. Okay, if I want to put the help in here, right? So this is what I will do. You see the title here, right? This is the, here, let me move over. This is the title, right? So that's what we need to do. We're going to put the help text inside the box. Okay, let me, so to save some time, I'm going to just use, because it's, so the way you do this is actually use this, okay? So let me copy over and then you can see it. So I wouldn't need the help anymore, okay? I just needed the placeholder. So this is what you do. So we will say the widget is a text input, which is, this is a text input. The class, we want to do a form control, which is really part of the Bootstrap class predefined. It will make this looks more pretty. Now the placeholder is where the text will be. We call course title, okay? So let's just do this, store this, and then restart it, and you can see this, okay? There you go. You see? The course title is here. Okay, now we managed to put the inside of the, you know, the help inside of the box, right? It's now editable, and it's much better in terms visually as well as spacing wise, especially when you look at this horizontally, right? If you look at the horizontally, and this is better putting the help text inside the box, okay? So now we got to this. We might as well do this to the rest of them, right? So let's do this, okay? So we do a summary. We do a summary, right? We do a summary. Where is it? Oh, wait a minute. Okay, so okay, so, and then we do the we will skip the URL for now because that's something we're going to add to it, and the phone as well. Okay, so that's pretty much it. So let's just look rerun this to see. So all these, the summary will be in it as well. Okay, so let's just look at this. So we'll rerun this, right? And then we'll do this, restart this, right? Summary is inside of it. Okay, so now we got to this. Now this is not really JavaScript, okay, but I feel it's important enough to show folks because a lot of modern website does this. Okay, the next thing we want to do is the notice here, right? So we are validating the phone here, okay, the phone number here. But if you type in like a like this, right? When you click on this submit, create a course, it will give you the error says this is invalid. Okay, but the problem is it'll only validate after I click this, which I don't want it. You know, you want to be able to is type and be able to tell you right away. You know what I mean? Right? So when I tap out or whatever, so the input validation should happen on the client on the in browser side before you even get to the server side. Because when you click this, you're sending data to the server side. Have server does the validation. Given the power of JavaScript, you should be able to do this in here. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, we really we need some help basically. So what I did was I googled some, and I was able to get this this tool. It's a freebie tool called Form Validator. Okay, so this is the just said Bootstrap form helper. Okay, so let me show you. So this is the it's called Bootstrap Form Helper. Okay, and now it is a paid library, except that they do give you some freebies. One of them is the phone validation. It's the phone input validation. So just take a look. Like if you know, this is what it look like. Okay, now if you want to type in ABCD, it won't even let you do that. So it's the validation actually happens in the field. So you wouldn't be able to enter non-valid. You wouldn't be able to get out of it. Okay, so it's always validated in place, right? So we want to use this. Now, how do we do this? It's actually, it turns out it's extremely simple. All we need is to add this piece. All we need is to actually add this piece, right, in our HTML form, okay? Right? So that's what, because the class is form control, which we already know how to do it. And then really, this is the BFH form is the class, okay? So now, before we do this, we need to include in the library, which, this whole thing is written. So I'm already done it. By the way, the link I already have the link for you. So you can go download it. It's going to be in my README file as well as on the video, YouTube video. Okay. So you go to here, you can download this. What you need to download really is this piece, this. Okay, the CSS, the star sheet, right? And then you need is the JavaScript. Okay, these are the two things you needed. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. Okay, so let's look at the project. We'll go to the baseline here, and I already did it. To save time, I already did it. Okay, so I did the form validator. Okay, look at this. Let's just So this is what I already pre-installed it, so at least you don't have, it saves some time. Okay, this is what I did, right? And then at the end of this, this is what I did on the JavaScript portion of it, right? So this is what I did. Okay, right? So I added these two, and now the question really is, the include is done, but how do we add this piece to the Django project and the templates? Because if you look at the template itself, right, this is the course. Where is the course? Here, add a course. So the template itself, it renders all the field in one shot, in one line. I wouldn't be able to tap in. But guess what? We did the HTML tag attribute override in the form, right? Because that's what we did with we did this with the placeholder, right? This is where I add the class, remember? Right? So we can do the same thing here. So now what we need to do is actually just copy this line, okay? This class modify line here into the font field, okay? So let me do this to save time. I will just do it now here. So in the font field, right? That's what I'll be doing. So we'll come over here. If you look at this, it's a text field, right? Because how do I know? Because it says, I'll show you. It says it's the text. Type is text. Okay, so it's the text field. So I says the widget is the text field. So right. Right. So see, the widget is the form.text input, just like we had it before, in the summary. Okay. Right. And then the class is form control, which is it's part of the Bootstrap form styling. And then it's the BFH dash form. Okay, that's the one we wanted to the attribute we want to tap into. Okay, so now let me get this. Hold on a second. Why is this? Am I missing something? Hold on. Oh, one more. All right. So that's what that matches what they want. What the Bootstrap form help wanted. Right. It's the type input type is text. The class is form.control BFH font, right? The data format. I'm using a different data format. I don't have the +1, nor do I put parentheses in it because to make it simple. So it will just be error code 3 and 4 format. Okay. So let me restart this, and then we'll just run it and see if I'm getting the. Okay. So let me reload the page. Okay. So the phone number, a moment of truth. Look at this, right? So if I type in ABCD, it won't work. That's it. It's that simple. Okay. So now we did this. Well, the next thing we want to look at is you see a lot of website where the starting date you can pick. This is pretty okay. I mean, it's not bad, but a lot of website they do a thing called date picker. It pops up a calendar, so you can click on it, and it actually give you the month and date and a calendar. So how do we do that? Well, that's another one of those you know jQuery and plugins we wanted to use. Okay, so to do that, uh, let's look at this. Okay, so if you look at the way we have now, the hold on a second, let me move this over. Okay, so we have here is the starting date that matches this, right? So we want to take the same approach as we did with these. Somehow find a way to override the HTML component because those are the plugins we have. Okay, so the most common the way I did, just so you know, to do this project, I just do a bootstrap date picker. So that's why I did, okay, and Django. And there are a lot of online helps, so you can actually look at this and just try different ways. And most of them the helps, even though it may not be 100% fit into your environment, but most of them will be very helpful and give you a good uh, tips how to do it. So I just happen to get one which is basically uses use the one it's called day picker, bootstrap day picker. Okay, so to do this, let me just to do this you need the day picker. It's the HTML. I'm sorry, it's a JavaScript plugin, and what we need is just like the one we did the phone number for help. You also need a CSS. Okay, so because remember it pops up a calendar, so we need a CSS, which is here. Okay, bootstrap date picker CSS. Okay, now how do I find this? Actually, to find this is not that hard. When you do this, you just come over here on the web page, on the browser. You just do a CDN because this is a common host place. You could just let me do a switch to Google so better. So this will give you the where to look. There are many places hosting these, but make sure you're getting the credible ones. Okay, don't pick the ones that non-credible ones because you may get the site hijacked or something. So make sure you get the one with a good reputation. But anyway, so you could these are the most a lot of common places people use. So this is what you will be able to get this. Okay. So what I did was again, you know, I use the miniature minimized one because that's more efficient. So you see it's the star sheet, right? And then I have also used the this, right? So that's the JavaScript. That's all you need. It all goes by pair. One is the styling, next to is JavaScript. So now that's the first step. Okay, so we did this. Next thing we need to do is actually we got this. So next we need to do is in our form, right? We needed to similar to what we have. before we did the other ones, we will need to patch in our widget. Okay, so the widgets we're gonna patching is this. All right, so let me. So this is the starting date, right? So this is what this line. Okay, we want to replace this, right, with the date picker. Okay, so let me, to save time, I'm gonna just copy this because it's much easier or quicker. So right, so if you compare these two lines, basically, right, if you compare these two lines, first is I define the format. Okay, now we still use the same label, right, and the widgets I have is a bit different. Okay, I have a user date input. I specify the format. Okay, all right. So that's all we have. Okay. Again, I mean, for the folks who is interested to know how do I get this? Actually, I just online Google it, and just like I did show you, and then that's how I was able to get this information. Okay. So now, keep it, here is where it says it doesn't have such thing as a widget called date input. Well, because I did not include them. But let me do something, okay, just so at least the folks just now. Here is a tricky piece which I wanted to explain a bit, okay. So, Django has a concept called partial, a function called partial, which basically what it does is it's similar to the inheritance. Is just basically to say, okay, I know form has a date input, right? And what I wanted to is actually overwrite that default class of the date input the Django framework has with a class of my own. In this case, is date picker. For, okay, again, like we said, everything in the film. I'm sorry, on the form, you always have a form control. That's part of the Bootstrap form styling. Okay, and then this is the date picker is the magic where it hooks up the control. I'm sorry, the HTML piece, the tag, that's dev section with a JavaScript, which we will add later on. Okay, so now you made a new date input object. Okay, this is what the widget would be. Okay, we're gonna use. So by the time this is assigned, you are this class equal to date picker is already being patched in, so it will be that. Okay, so now we have this, and then the last piece we need to do is actually on the form, on the on the add course. Okay, so this is what we wanted to do. Remember, we in the baseline HTML, we actually did put a hook here. It says we want to, down the road, if we want to add our own JavaScript, this is what the block I want to put it in. So in the add course, right? So in this case, at the end of this, I want to add a block, basically to say, when the document is ready, I want to hook into a JavaScript JQuery script, which basically hold on a second, let me format this to make it more readable. I want to, when the HTML document is ready, please hook this function, the date picker, to this particular div, okay, and we'll hook up with the function which basically defines the format of this calendar. Okay, so now we're all done, and this will, let's see if this works. Okay, So we did, first of all, we did to do this piece, we modified the form, right, with the HTML, customized HTML date input, and then we included the common library we needed for this, which is Bootstrap form date picker, right? JavaScript and the date picker CSS library, okay? And then the last thing I did was come over to the add course template, added the custom logo JavaScript to hook the JavaScript itself into the div date picker, okay? Where's the date picker being defined? It's actually in the form. If you look at this, when I did overwrite here, right, the date picker, okay? So let's run this, okay? There you go, it's gone. So we do. Okay, now interesting. It's the calendar is not showing up. So let's look at this. Okay, why is not showing up? All right. So let's look at this. Huh. So it should show up. Why is the calendar not showing up? Let me look at this. Okay. So date picker. Let me look at this. Okay. So if I'm missing anything here, date picker. You know, let me just leave this aside because the video gets real long. I will try to solve this. That's okay. Let's move to the next thing I wanted to do. Let's put off this. Okay, the calendar thing. Okay, let's just put off the calendar for now. The next thing I want to show is actually how do I validate URL. So because you can enter all these things, just like in the phone number and the calendar, you click this, and then it will tell you it's failed. I would like to do this instantaneously, right? So how do I do that? Well, that's another one of those where we can patch in, okay? So the way we do this is actually come over, we go to our familiar place, which is the form, okay? So look for the URL, right? So we will play the same trick as we did. So we will we will use the widget equal to URL input, and then we will just override a class with our own validating class, okay? The form control as well as the validate URL, which is one of those custom controls somebody developed, and I'll show you what it is, okay? So we'll come over here. Let me go to the project. So let me do the URL here. So we'll do the URL, okay? Because I want to make sure we get this, the URL. All right, so that's the first step. I am actually basically says the URL input, please use the validate URL custom control, okay? So now where is that come from? Well, this is where I was able to I got this from again by looking at the internet, and this is called validate. It has a bunch of validations. One of them is the URL validation. Okay, let me show you where's here is validate URL. Okay, so that has that ability. Now again, I mean, you know, if you look at this, it actually tells you that it's for you validating the URL, you including validated URL, right? So that's what I did. If you look at this, validate URL, and that's what I put in here. You know, the class form control, and then validate URL. Okay, so that's the first step. Now the next step, now it becomes very common. So we will have to include a JavaScript. So in here there is I'm sorry, this actually has no Java. It's a pure there is no star sheet, but there is a JavaScript to include. Okay, so the JavaScript to include in this for validation purposes is in here. So let's look at this, okay? So in the base, we will include the let me look at this, okay? So here you go. It's the JavaScript, okay? Now, folks, but one thing, just so you're aware of it, they do not have a CDN host. So what I did was I downloaded. Okay. Now I'm going to give you the URL and in the in my project file as well as in the video tutorial notes. Okay, so you can download if you want to. So basically, this is what the syntax would be. Okay, so we're including this. Sorry. This is the line, okay? So I'm going to include this in here, okay? So this is what it look like. Now, again, like I said, I download this. So let me show you where it is, okay? So again, I downloaded it, and then all you need to do is really, once you download it, you just put in the put it in the directory where it would be. Just put in the directory. So this is what I did. Okay, just a second. Wait a minute. So this is what I put in. All right. So now I have the valid 8, the minimal, the JavaScript. Okay. So let's stop it and then restart it just to see if it works. Okay. All right. Now let's see if it works. Okay. So if I do this, right? Now, if I tap out, it says it's not valid. Okay. And if I do this, this is actually not valid either, because you need which HTTP protocol as the full of HTML header. So if I come over here, right? So if I do this, this is a legit because it has HTTPS. HTTP is either way. Okay. So now you see it's all working, right? So the URL validation are working as well, right? So now it all works. So that really conclude you know, the second part of the adding Bootstrap and JQuery plugins to the page to add a lot of, not just the visual appearance, layout. Also, it really does a lot of functional things, such as validating the data you're entering at the client side instead of sending this to the server. Okay. Now, luckily, we have the last section, which is video segment 12. I'm going to talk about adding a logging into this site. Okay. So, and also we will turn the certain link on and off based on whether you logged in or not. And when we get to that section, I will specifically talk about this, why the calendar is not showing up. And because this segment is really long already, so I'm going to stop here. But I will come back to talk about why the calendar is not showing up, because it's supposed to show up the calendar. Okay. Thank you for watching, and I want to we're going to start this in the segment 12 to finish up the entire tutorial. Thank you for watching.